Hey, happy day! Let's talk about the expression snake in the grass and what it has to do with growing and supersizing and building the business that you want to build. That we're probably, if you're listening to me, are in the process of building. Now, this expression has been around for thousands of years, since at least 37 BC, when the famous Roman poet Virgil wrote about it and used an analogy with respect to snake in the grass in one of his poems. Now, for a long time, human beings have been afraid of and untrustworthy and nervous and skeptical about snakes and afraid of snakes, because snakes are slithery. I personally believe anything with no legs that can move that fast is something to stay away from and be a little bit afraid of. So for thousands of years, people have been wary of snakes, and snakes especially in the grass, because they're hiding in the grass. They're not really out there in the open, so you don't know that if you can trust them or not. And some of them are actually poisonous, right? There are poisonous snakes, and so there's reasons for us to be afraid of them as human beings. Now, of course, a snake in the grass means somebody who is a traitor, unfaithful, untrustworthy, underhanded, sneaky, deceitful type person. Somebody whose behavior is not on the up and up. Of course, they're usually out for their own best interest and probably not for your best interest. Now, I've heard this expression my whole life and never really experienced it until about a decade or so ago, when I began walking at the state park. Now, there's a state park that I've grown up by, most of my life. I've lived by this state park. And when I was younger, I went there a lot, and then I didn't go for decades. And then as I needed to start paying better attention to my health and reduce my stress level, I started walking out there again. And in all the years that I've been walking there, it's been like 9 or 10 years now, I've only seen a snake on 3 occasions. 3 times. Now, one time I did see a snake skin, but I didn't count that. But I'm talking about the 3 times I actually saw a slithery snake in the grass and screamed like a little girl. Jumped and screamed like a little girl. Probably on all 3 occasions. One for sure because someone witnessed it and I was totally embarrassed after it. But that's not the point of my story. The point is, every time I actually physically saw a snake in the grass, it caused me to stop and think about what was going on in my life and what was going on around me. And every one of those 3 times, something bad was going on in my life. The first time, it turns out that we had a very, very bad, I can't even describe how bad this business partner was. My ex-husband and I had a business partner that we had gotten in business with, and it led to more trouble than I could possibly have ever imagined. Legal trouble, health trouble, financial trouble, you name it. It was bad news all the way around. But I had seen a snake in the grass at the park, and I kind of had an inkling that stuff was going on, but I didn't actually look into it and really pay attention to it and visually let myself see it and know what was going on until I actually saw that snake in the grass. Second time I saw a snake in the grass, turns out the ex-husband was cheating on me. So there you have that. Now again, it was probably going on for a long time, but I didn't want to see it, because a lot of times when there's people around us that are deceitful and underhanded and lying and unfaithful, they do a pretty good job of covering their tracks. And people that we know and trust and are around us, we don't want to think that they could ever behave in an underhanded, deceitful, snake-like manner, right? So we don't necessarily allow ourselves to see it. But that snake, I saw that snake at the park, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. I never see snakes. All of the walks, thousands and thousands of times I've been out there, and only on 3 occasions have I actually seen a physical snake. So the ex-husband, it's why he's an ex-husband, right? The third time was I was in negotiations to sell my business with a person, and we'd been in negotiations and talks for a while, and something just didn't feel right to me. And I saw this snake in the grass, and I started digging and doing more investigating, and found out that this is not the kind of person I would ever want to sell my business to. And so every time I've literally seen a snake in the grass, it's been a sign to me to look deeper at what's going on in my life and around me. So, lesson learned: if you got an inkling that there's something not right in your business, investigate it. Don't wait to see a snake, literally see a snake. If you live in the city, what's the probability you're going to see a snake? And I was going to a place where there was a high probability I would see snakes often. thousands of walks, and only 3 times out of thousands did I ever even come across a snake in my path. Now, yeah, snakes hide and they're not really around us, right? They're kind of like bears. They're more afraid of us than we are of them, right? But I take that as a sign to listen to my gut, listen to my intuition. And we need to always listen to our intuition and how things make us feel in our business. If something feels off, it feels off for a reason. If it's not right for us, it's going to feel off. So I would love to hear if you have any snake in the grass stories. I think if you've been in business long enough, almost all of us have come across or attracted somebody that isn't on the up and up, somebody who's a slightly unethical. And it's nothing about us. I think that it's one of those things that happen, like other obstacles and other challenges, to test us and to see how serious we are about what it is that we're building, what it is that we're creating, the business that we're the thing that we're making and creating for the rest of the world. I think it's just one of those tests, kind of a rite of passage to find out if you're paying attention or not, if you've grown enough to be worthy, if you're listening to yourself and following your own path well enough to notice when there's a snake in the grass in your midst. And if there is, what you do about it? Out of there, right? All right, that's my idiom for today, our little snake in the grass stories for today. If you have a story about snakes in the grass or unethical partners, almost every famous guru, any famous person has got a story about it that they've shared and told. So this is mine. Go out, have an amazing day. If I can help you in any way, share in the comments below. But share your stories if you've got them, because I think we can all learn lessons from one another, and that's very, very helpful. Take care. Be with you tomorrow.